Welcome everyone, my name's Soph and this is my attempt to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon FireRed with only flying type Pokemon. The full rule set for this run is listed down below, but basically only the first flying type encounter in each route or area can be caught. If a Pokemon faints, it must be permanently boxed, no items except held items in battle, party Pokemon levels are limited to the next gym leader or Elite Force ace, and finally the battle mode must be put on set at all times. The flying type is definitely an interesting one in the main story of Fire Red and Leaf Green, with all the fully evolved Pokemon on screen available. Although Scyther is only available in Fire Red, the reason why we're playing it. Since we're not allowed to use Legendaries, the 3 legendary birds are not available to us, unfortunately. There are a few more of these Pokemon that we're actually going to be unable to obtain due to the rules and Fire Red's game setup. We're going to be playing an ultra hardcore Nuzlocke where we can only use Pokemon that we can actually catch as a flying type, not those who later evolve to have it, since we can't use non-flying Pokemon in battle. The experience share also isn't available until we catch 50 Pokemon in this game anyway, which we're not allowed to do of course, meaning Charizard, Butterfree, and Dragonite will be unobtainable. I can already foresee some major challenges with a flying hardcore Nuzlocke, as I'm sure you can, but without any further ado, let's get down to business. It's time to choose our starter, and I'm going to go with Charmander, so Blue chooses Squirtle, which will arguably be the hardest starter to face in the end. Since Charmander isn't yet a flying type, as per the rules we have to deposit it as soon as possible, but first we have to smash Blue into the ground with it. After getting Pokeballs, it's game on. Can I just note how these two scientists in Oak's lab say the exact same things like they're hostages or something? Nothing out of the ordinary here, we're just scientists. Help us. After Blue said he's going to tell his sister not to give us a town map, you can guess where we're going. Daisy Oak's house to get the town map. She's a legend. Probably my favorite character. It's time for our first encounter, Pidgey, which we catch and nickname Vanilla because, it's the standard flying type here, isn't it? Incredibly, it ends up having a jolly nature, plus speed and minus special attack, which is fantastic as both flying and normal moves are all physical in this gen. Our very first battle with Vanilla is already insane. This arch nemesis Pidgey outspeeds us but misses 2 tackles in a row, then we break the speed tie on the third to take it out while taking no damage. Vanilla is absolutely magical and perhaps immortal. Don't tell anyone. After it learns Sand Attack and gets to level 8, I'm feeling safe to get our next encounter right away on the route that a lot of people forget about, Route 22, west of Viridian City. Here we can obtain a Spearow, which I nearly killed by the way, and we nickname it Killshot. Killshot has a lonely nature plus attack and minus defense, which is both good and bad, especially given what we have coming up. What I love about Fire Red and Leaf Green is that literally everything on the first 2 routes gives either speed or attack EVs, and Mankey are perfect since we already have Stab super effective Peck on Killshot. After grinding both of our birds to level 10, we take on Viridian Forest, which as you can imagine is quite an easy task with all the bug types. I'm very happy that there's Kakuna and Metapod in here though, as we are going to need some defense EVs for what's to come. After a bit more grinding until our Pokemon are almost level 14, it's time for something I'm honestly not even sure is even possible. The Rock-type Pewter City Gym. Even the trainer in the gym is absolutely terrifying. With a combination of Sand Attack and Gust, we're able to bring his Geodude low with Vanilla despite its infinite defense curls, but we're within KO range. Thankfully, we can safely switch into Killshot, and despite getting hit twice despite the accuracy drops, we take it out with Fury Attack. But he also has a Sandshrew, and now we can't lower its accuracy since Vanilla is too low to switch in. Thankfully, the Sandshrew ends up starting to spam Defense Curl, and even though our other attacks do like 1 HP, at least Fury Attack can get 2 to 5 HP since it's a multi-hit move. My god, a level 10 Geodude and a level 11 Sandshrew were able to do this to our team, and Sandshrew didn't even resist our attacks. I don't know how I'm feeling about this. After leveling to the max level cap exclusively with Mankeys for attack EVs, it's time. Brock, the Rock-type gym leader and one of the biggest threats imaginable. Unfortunately, neither Pidgey nor Spearow evolved before the level cap, so we're stuck with them as they are. I'm not kidding when I say I have no idea whether this challenge is even possible due to Brock, but I studied his battle for a long time and came up with the best possible strategy. So, let's give it a go. He leads with a level 12 Geodude as I lead with Vanilla. My plan is to immediately hit this thing with as many Sand Attacks as I can. Thankfully, his Geodude doesn't actually have any rock moves, but Tackle can still do some damage, especially since we do hardly any damage at all to hit. On the first 2 turns, he just goes for Defense Curl, then misses his Tackle on the next 3. At this point, I switch in Spearow, and this is the crux of my strategy. Pidgey can't do any damage at all after all the defense curls, so it's basically only useful for sand attacking in preparation for Spearow to come in. Spearow on the other hand has Fury Attack to bypass the 1 HP damage we'd do otherwise, but also has Growl and Leer. I go for a few Growls on Geodude so both its accuracy and attack are terrible, then I go for some Leers to lower its defense. This way he'll continue to use defense curls instead of being at max defense, so we have less of a chance to get hit by tackle when we chip him down with Fury Attack. It is a very long and very scary process, as even one crit tackle could do us in. But after a while we get it down to the red after only getting hit once by a terrible attack stat tackle. Now here, I don't actually want to take the Geodude out, as Spearow could do absolutely nothing if Onix comes in. Instead, I switch to Pidgey again to take the Geodude out. What's also great is since both Pokemon were on the field, they both get experience and level up, which is allowed in Hardcore Nuzlocke. You just have to be at or below the level cap as the battle starts. In comes the Onix though, and I am terrified, as it has super effective Rock Tomb, which also lowers the opponent's speed and is a surprisingly fast Pokemon with base 70 speed. I hit it with Sand Attack since Rock Tomb only has 80% accuracy, but he hits one on his very first turn. Oh no. That ruins my plan almost entirely. Thanks to our jolly nature, we did outspeed, but it didn't seem to do much. Thankfully, even though we're outsped now, the first Sand Attack we did causes him to miss on the next, so we hit it with another Sand Attack. I was really banking on him missing that first one, but I have no choice now. I have to commit. I go for the Sand Attack again, but he outspeeds and hits another Rock Tomb to take Vanilla out. Ouch, that stings. But hopefully we're set up enough now. Killshot comes out and has the exact same speed stat as Onix, but is a level higher, so we outspeed and hit him with Growl. Again, I know he can do big damage to us, and it's going to take a while for us to bring him down with all resisted moves, so we need to lower his attack. He hits us on the third turn to 24 HP and our speed drops, so he now outspeeds us. Tackle has a bit higher accuracy than Rock Tomb, so he starts using that and hits us twice to 20 HP, at which point I start using Leer to lower his defense so we can at least hit him for some damage. He tried going for Bind at one point, which is my nightmare since it would be guaranteed damage each turn despite his low accuracy. And then he hits one. Uh-oh. It's time to attack. Fury Attack gets a crit on the first hit, but then does hardly anything and only hits twice. This is not good. With 12 HP left, we bring him to about a quarter after a 3-hit Fury Attack where one of the hits got a crit. Bind brings us down to just 10 HP, but he misses his next Rock Tomb and we get a 3-hit Fury Attack to take him out. Holy absolute f***. That was insane. We survived within KO range with just one of our Pokemon, but we beat Brock with just a Pidgey and a Spearow who are weak to Rock and whose moves are all resisted by both of his Pokemon. And they both had huge defense and we had a level cap too. Amazing. Due to crits or unfortunate breaks through accuracy, etc., I had to perform 4 wipes where we reset the game from the start until we got this victory, but thankfully, unlike some other gym leaders and other challenges we've done, Brock is the first, so resetting the game from the start isn't all that bad. Honestly, a combination of a good strategy, some luck, and good natures on our Pokemon with a plus speed Pidgey and a plus attack Spearow made this possible. Wow. After operating with only Killshot for the next little bit, our next destination is Mount Moon, where we can get a new encounter, Zubat. We successfully catch one and decide to name it not Crobat. Those of you who are familiar with Fire Red and Leaf Green know why. Zubat ends up having a calm nature, which is plus special defense and minus attack. Yikes. Terrible, but hey, at least we have a new team member. Now, the unfortunate part about Mount Moon is that there are quite a few hikers with rock Pokemon, which would seem kind of impossible on the face of it, but Zubat actually saves us. Not only does it have Supersonic, which granted is only 55% accuracy, but it also has Bite. Don't forget that in Gen 3, all dark moves are special, and most of the rock types have terrible special defense, so we finally have a reasonable method of countering them. Thanks to this, the rest of Mount Moon goes smoothly with a few close calls, and we end up choosing the Helix fossil this time. Maybe we'll be blessed for doing so. Route 4 is another great place for grinding due to Ekans giving attack EVs, and we get both Pokemon to level 21. Spearow also evolves into a beautiful Fearow. Initially, I was going to deny its evolution since it gets Aerial Ace at level 25 and gets no other flying move besides Peck until level 40, but Misty and Blue are definitely too tough to risk doing so. Zubat also learns Wing Attack at level 21, which is a great stab move for it, but unfortunately it doesn't evolve until level 22 right after the level cap. I decide to take on Blue at the Nugget Bridge here, and Killshot's evolution basically saves us for this battle. In addition to its raised stats, Fearow also has the Keen Eye ability, which means its accuracy can't be lowered. One of the main challenges about this battle usually is that Blue's Pidgeotto spams Sand Attack right from the start, but Killshot is unaffected and can take it down with Fury Attack after getting hit by 2 Quick Attacks. Rattata also hits us with 2 Quick Attacks, but then it goes down. Squirtle comes out and I decide to try 1 Fury Attack, which brings it below half, but it survives and goes for Withdraw, but goes down to 1 more. Now here, I couldn't let Killshot level up, so I switched into Zubat, who handles Abra with ease since it can't attack us. Keen Eye definitely made that battle much smoother than it usually is. It's time for our second gym leader, Misty. I'm not quite sure how to feel about this battle as the type interaction is neutral, but we do have to watch out for Water Pulse's confusion. I attach our only Oran Berry to Fearow, which you can get on Route 3, and our only Person Berry for confusion on Zubat, which you can find on Route 4. I decide to lead with Fearow and just try to outspeed and tank through her Pokemon since Zubat is too fragile, and Fearow will get the level up for Starmie if it defeats Staryu. Fury Attack hits 3 times and takes it out immediately. Nice. In comes the Starmie and Fury Attack hits 5 times immediately but still doesn't take it out. Then it hits us with Water Pulse for nearly half, and then our next Fury Attack misses so it can use Recover. Oh no. Our next attack hits 4 times but it doesn't take it out. It hits us with another Water Pulse to just 14 HP, but thankfully we do not get confused and 1 more attack can take it out. Whew, if we had gotten confused at any point, that very well might have been the end of the run, and we even had Fury Attack miss once too. Second badge down, and another challenging one is yet to come. On the Nugget Bridge, which we had to hold off on earlier so we could stay below the level cap, Zubat ends up evolving into Golbat, which is a huge step both for offenses and defenses. Our next level cap is merely 24, and even avoiding every single optional trainer on our way to Bill's house, we end up at levels 23 and 24, with another route, the SS Anne, and gym trainers to go. This is not looking good at all. While leaving Cerulean, we encounter this girl trying to train her Slowbro, and she says, "No, that's wrong. It's so hard to control Pokemon. Your Pokemon's obedience depends on your abilities as a trainer." Well, you must be pretty f***ing trash then. I decide to give the daycare a visit too. "Excuse me, sir, since the rules don't allow me to give you my Pokemon, can you take care of me instead?" After clearing the last necessary trainer and arriving in Vermilion City, we have a massive dilemma. Both of our Pokemon are already at level 24, and we can't access the gym without going through the SSN. This looks like the end, but we have one final hope. What we can do is catch what we're going to say is a Pokemon for HMs, which are allowed for the rules, a Spearow for Fly. We can then go to this house in Vermilion where this girl is seeking a trade, a Spearow for her Farfetch'd. Since they're both flying type Pokemon and this is technically our first new area encounter, I see no reason to not allow this trade, so bam, the run is saved by this magnificent bird. Wait a minute. Chiding? What the f*** is that? Oh my god, it's adamant too. Nice. This in-game trade also gives the stick item which raises Farfetch'd critical hit ratio. Farfetch'd stats are absolute garbage, so hopefully those two things will make it somewhat useful. Since we get it at level 15, I need it to be as powerful as possible without leveling it up too much since it's basically all we can use at this point while avoiding the level cap, so I grind it against weak Ekans outside of Cerulean for a bit for attack EVs. The trainers in the SSN are manageable even though Farfetch'd is quite weak, and we arrive at Blue with Chiding at level 21, and we better hope it can handle most of Blue's team. Thankfully, Farfetch'd also has Keen Eye, so Blue's Pidgeotto can't Sand Attack us. Having Fury Attack on Farfetch'd is amazing since each individual hit has a chance for a critical hit, and the stick increases that further, so it takes out Pidgeotto with little issues since it only uses Quick Attack once. Raticate, however, uses Hyper Fang and brings us to just 14 HP, and I'm forced to switch into Fearow, who can then handle Raticate and Kadabra. Then we can switch into Golbat on Wartortle so they can split the experience. We get cut by massaging the captain's back. Oh yeah, keep going. And we've officially made it to Surge's gym under the level cap by the skin of our teeth. The trainers in Surge's gym mostly have Pikachus which just use Slam instead of electric moves, so the only real challenge we faced was a Magnemite, but we make it to Surge with little issue. Now, just like Brock, Lieutenant Surge is of course an absolutely terrifying threat with electric Pokemon, and the thing is, unlike for Brock, we can't do any Sand Attack strats here since all 3 of his Pokemon have Shockwave which can't miss. Great. After having studied his team like a madman and came up with our best strategy, it's time. I decide to lead with Golbat against Surge's Voltorb and hit him with Bite in the hopes that he might flinch, since we can't even use Supersonic to confuse him because of his soundproof ability. He hits us with Sonic Boom, followed by Shockwave though, down to just 31 HP, after which we can take him out. Pikachu comes in next, and here I tried to risk going for the Supersonic, assuming he would double team, but we miss, and then he goes for Thunder Wave to paralyze us. That is not good at all. Thankfully, we get a free switch into Kill Shot since he uses Double Team again, and keep in mind that it doesn't affect us with Keen Eye, so it's a great switch. But regardless, Fury Attack misses. He then hits us with Shockwave for about a third, then we miss Fury Attack again at 85% accuracy. How? It then hits us with Thunder Wave to paralyze, but thankfully I put a Cherry Berry on, which you can find in the trash cans in the SSN. I go for Fury Attack again, but it misses for a third turn in a row, and we get Thunder Waved again. Dear Lord. We would have been absolutely fine if we hit that first Fury Attack, as yes, each hit is a chance to paralyze us due to its static ability, but that's what the berry was for. Instead, we're thrust into the Raichu, now paralyzed and with a third damage. There's just no way. We can't switch into anything on a Shockwave from a Raichu. I have to sack Kill Shot when we would have otherwise outsped without the paralysis, as my plan was. That was absolutely brutal luck. I switch Farfetch'd in and Raichu goes for Double Team, but even Farfetch'd has Keen Eye and can actually hit a damn Fury Attack. But the very first hit paralyzes us, but thankfully we land two more. But now the Raichu goes for Shockwave, and we survive on just 10 HP, break through the paralysis, and take it out. Oh my god, that was ridiculous. We lost Kill Shot, but hey, at least we beat Surge, which I really wasn't sure we'd be able to manage in the first place. 2 deaths on the board, but 3 badges too. While traveling on Route 9, we find TM40 Aerial Ace. I decide to teach it to Farfetch since it gets nothing else besides Peck through level up, and nothing else will need it quite that badly. Golbat also ends up learning Confuse Ray instead of Supersonic, which should be quite helpful with way better accuracy. We make it through the rock tunnel alright and arrive in Lavender Town, where the nickname raider is. I thought long and hard about renaming Farfetch'd, but you know what? Shading it is! After that gym performance, you deserve to keep your namesake, buddy. Whatever it is. The gate for Route 12 presents us with the Return TM, which is going to be very useful with 102 power once our Pokemon are actually friendly with us. While traveling to Celadon City, I tried my absolute best not to exceed the level cap, but Farfetch'd hits level 30 on our next mandatory battle, meaning it will not be able to be used in battle until we have the next badge. I think what really hurt us here is that as a traded Pokemon, it gets an experience boost, which is normally good, but really bad for us in our case. After arriving in Celadon, we have nothing but a Golbat, which is already at the level cap of 29. But yet again, we thankfully have a saving grace in the form of the Game Corner, which has the Bug Flying Scyther as a prize. It costs 5,500 coins, and I desperately played the slots like an addict and only managed about 1,000 after a long time. And we don't have enough money either. So we're gonna have to hold off on that for now. But we have one more option. East of Celadon, before the Snorlax, we can access Route 16, which has none other than Doduo. We catch one and name it Triple D. I mean, it might not make much sense right now, as Doduo is only a double, but they're gonna they're gonna evolve, and then Triple D will make sense, okay? It has a naive nature, plus speed and minus special defense, which isn't bad. That speed could be useful against high speed tier Pokemon for sure. While grinding it for a bit, Doduo learns Tri Attack, which is a fantastic 80 power stab move with a chance for status. Now, Erika's gym, being a grass type gym, finally gives us some leeway as our flying team is able to absolutely tear through the entire place. Erika herself could be a bit frightening with good bulk and poison moves including Toxic, but we have a Golbat. Now, she did miss a critical Stun Spore early on with Victory Bell, which could have caused some problems, but aside from that, Golbat is able to sweep through her party pretty cleanly, being paralyzed and taking only 8 HP damage by the end of the battle. Interestingly, Golbat actually starts to evolve after the battle, but those of you who are familiar with these games know that it's just a tease. You can't actually get evolutions like Crobat, Scizor, Kingdra, and Steelix until the post-game. They just don't work. I can maybe understand wanting to keep the main game as close to the originals as possible, but why tease us with the evolution animation, you sick f***s? Oh, and also this happens every single level until the post-game too. Unless you have an Everstone, which we can't get. After picking Farfetch'd back up from the PC, he ends up learning Swords Dance at level 31, which is of course an incredible move. Farfetch's speed isn't that great, but hey, more attack can never hurt. Doduo also tries to evolve at level 31, however I'm going to delay that as it does learn Drill Peck at 37 as a Doduo, but at 47 as a Dodrio, so I think it's worth it. After taking on Team Rocket in the Game Corner hideout, it's time to face Giovanni for the first time. Hey Dad, how was work? He starts with an Onyx, so I lead with Crobat, our best defensive presence, and hit him with Confuse Ray right away. Thankfully, he just goes for Rage, so I can hit him with Bite, which does about a third, and then he hits himself in Confusion over the next 2 turns so we can take him out. Rhyhorn is a 3-hit KO with Bite as well, although he did get a Tail Whip off, which isn't good for his final Pokemon, a Kangaskhan. He goes for Priority Fake Out immediately, which does a third, even at 40 base power, so I confuse him and hit him with Wing Attack, after which he goes for Tail Whip. With our defense so low, I know we need to switch, so I hard switch into Farfetch'd, and then thankfully it just uses Bite. Kangaskhan hits itself in Confusion, after which I Swords Dance, and thankfully it hits itself yet again so I can take it out with a supercharged Aerial Ace. Mega Punch could have definitely done some damage, but Confuse Ray did a really good job. In the Lavender Tower, Blue is kind of underleveled compared to us since we only have 3 Pokemon and we were technically supposed to explore here earlier on, so Chiding is able to perform a Swords Dance sweep through his entire team while taking little damage. Man, that feels good. Unlike our last FireRed adventure, this time we also don't lose anyone to the stupid Marowak ghost either. Good riddance. While training up for the next gym, we break into this building where this guy has apparently already done so. Not only did he break into a building right beside a police officer, but he also encourages a 10-year-old when he does the same. This is officially the biggest badass in all of Pokemon. Remember his name, Heisenberg. During our training, Doduo finally learns Drill Peck at level 37 and proceeds to evolve into Dodrio. He has officially evolved into Triple D. Oh, Golbat, would you off? He's really living up to his name, isn't he? At last, we finally have enough money to afford Scyther from the Game Corner. Yes, we could have possibly gotten one from the Safari Zone, but it's very unlikely, and we need to lighten the XP load on our way to Fuchsia since there are a lot of trainers along the way, and don't forget that the level cap for both Koga and Sabrina is 43. We name the Scyther Hacker, and it ends up having a relaxed nature plus defense and minus speed. Minus speed is really not good at all, but again, I'm not complaining with how few Pokemon we have. Unfortunately, Scyther's moveset and learn set is kinda trash, but she does learn Wing Attack at the very next level at least. While grinding on Cycling Road, she also learns Slash at level 31 and Swords Dance at level 36, which will definitely be helpful. While in the Safari Zone, we find the Steel Wing TM, which should be really helpful as another way to deal with rock types, although their defense is of course still strong and special moves are preferred. Before the Fuchsia City Gym, an idea came to mind for a way that we could potentially power up our Pokemon a bit. I decided to teach Dodrio the Thief TM instead of Pursuit since enemies don't normally switch anyway, and we can try to find Fearow on Route 18 which have a 5% chance to hold a Sharp Beak item to boost the power of flying moves, which we can steal from them using Thief, that way we're not breaking the rules by catching them. Since Fearow only have a 15% chance to be found on this route and they only have a 5% chance of having a Sharp Beak item, this is a long process. But eventually we do find one and I attach it to Dodrio for now since Drill Peck is our strongest flying move that we have. With that, it's time for the 5th gym. Since the level cap here is the same as Saffron's gym and we have the Silphco to go, we have to go in a bit low in terms of levels and I reach Koga with our team all at level 38. Unfortunately, we have nothing super effective against any of his Pokemon, but I think I have a good plan. He leads off with Coughing and I go in with Golbat since we resist all of his poison moves and can't get poisoned of course. His 2 Coughings also have Self-Destruct, and Golbat is technically our best defensive presence. I go for Confuse Ray right away so we might be able to avoid the Self-Destruct if he does try it. The first Coughing goes down safely after it hits itself in Confusion once, but he next brings out Muck. Now Muck is a very difficult situation, but I make sure to confuse it right away. The problem is Muck tends to spam Minimize, so I switch into Chiding here with Keen Eye so his accuracy is unaffected. Yes, Muck could hit us hard with Sludge or Toxic, but it's why we confused him. I next get a Swords Dance off and Muck snaps out of Confusion to hit us to near half with Sludge, but no poison, and Aerial Ace brings him down to a quarter, after which he thankfully just goes for Minimize again so we can take him out. Coughing actually survives an Aerial Ace, but it went for Toxic and missed so we can take him out after a Hyper Potion. His last Pokemon is Weezing, and after seeing how much Sludge did from Muck, I know we can't survive one, so I switch back into Golbat who tanks it well. After Confusion and a long grind with Wing Attack, we end up being able to take down Weezing with just 27 HP remaining. Golbat was an absolute savior for this battle, and Keen Eye is also a fantastic thing to deal with Muck. 5 badges acquired. Following this, we're able to make our way to Route 12, where we have a really interesting situation. Here we can get the Super Rod, which is actually going to open up a crucial encounter for us, Gyarados. Now, in the originals, you can only get Gyarados by evolving a Magikarp, but in Fire Red and Leaf Green, Gyarados can be caught straight up in the water with the Super Rod, which makes it a viable flying encounter for us. We catch one and name it Shenron, and it ends up having a lonely nature, which is plus attack and minus defense. Anything plus attack is great, so I'm happy. Before the Saffron Gym, I hit up the game corner to buy the Mystic Water item to boost Gyarados' water moves. This is kind of the problem with Gyarados. Surf and Bite are both special moves, and it doesn't learn a single flying move in this entire game, which is strange, but at least the Mystic Water will help a bit with damage output. The Fighting Dojo is also the perfect opportunity to level him up for attack EVs, and he handles them well with Intimidate too. We did have one very close call though against a Primeape with Seismic Toss, but thankfully the Dojo Master's Hitmonchan doesn't have the elemental punches. Honestly, these poor people. They had their gym made unofficial by a super effective psychic gym that came into town. Then a ridiculous 10-year-old expert flying trainer comes in and destroys them all just for good measure. To try and fix our whole special move problem, I decide to buy the Hyper Beam TM from the department store for Gyarados, which should be a good sort of last resort move. After finishing the grind, it's time for the Saffron City Gym. Now, I was initially going to do a crazy Scyther Swarm Boost Fury Cutter strategy, but Scyther doesn't actually learn Fury Cutter until shortly after the level cap, and Scyther's wing attack is a range on Kadabra according to my calcs, and it does have Reflect, which we can't allow at all, so I go in with our hardest hitter, Dodrio. Amazingly, with the sharp beak, Dodrio is able to one-hit KO every single one of her Pokemon, and it even outspeeds Alakazam too. Incredible. That's one thing that flying-type Pokemon have going for them, their speed and power despite their frailty. Any setting up might have cost us badly, so that was a good choice. After arriving in Cinnabar, it's time to do something. Get our last encounter, which we need to go to Pewter City for, the Old Amber. The scientist here says, "My colleagues just ignore what I have to say. I want you to have this examined at a lab somewhere." Somewhere? Maybe they ignore you because you're a scientist and don't know where the nearest lab is. This dude over here says, "The secrets of space, the mysteries of Earth, there are so many things about which we know so little. But that should spur us to study harder, not toss in the towel. The only thing you should toss, well, how about Seismic Toss? Should I teach that to a Pokemon?" This guy is the greatest marketer of all time. Back on Cinnabar, the researcher says we need to walk a little before the fossil is restored, so...
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Once we get Aerodactyl, we name it Terry, and it ends up having a docile nature, which is neutral. The Cinnabar Mansion is a big hassle as per usual, but it offers a decent chance to put some levels on Terry. After an insane grind where I get Terry to level 38, primarily against Tangalas south of Pallet Town, he learns Ancient Power along the way, and it's time for the Cinnabar Gym. Terry is absolutely impressive against all the trainers with super effective Ancient Power, and it's time for Blaine in no time at all. My strategy for Blaine is pretty solid. I send in Golbat against Growlithe to take the Intimidate, go for Confuse Ray, then switch into Aerodactyl safely and take it out with Ancient Power after it hits us with Fire Blast but doesn't burn. And we got the Ancient Power full stat boost too. However, Blaine immediately goes into Arcanine for the Intimidate here, and Ancient Power does a bit more than half, but we get another boost. What in the world? I don't think I've ever seen that. My initial plan was to switch into Gyarados when the Arcanine came in to get rid of the attack drop and to put Intimidate on it, followed by a sweep with Surf, but Aerodactyl is now able to handle the entire team by himself. What an absolute beast. After rescuing the little girl from the creepy Hypno on the Selai Islands, no seriously, what the is this plotline? It's time for the final gym. We had one scary moment against the trainers where we nearly lost Terry since I looked at the wrong trainer online. I thought he was the one with fighting Pokemon, but he had rock Pokemon instead. Yikes. The grind to get to level 50 for Giovanni is long and... oh, off, Golbat. As might be expected, Giovanni is an absolute sweep-through since his Pokemon are all weak or 4 times weak to water. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, I have no idea why they didn't give him Kangaskhan and maybe even Persian for this battle, even though we saw him use the Kangaskhan several times. I guess they just wanted to stick to the whole ground gym leader thing, but it's less effective when we've seen him with other powerful Pokemon. With that, we have our next rival battle on Route 22, and beforehand I decided to teach Aerodactyl the Earthquake TM we just got from Giovanni, as it seems like it could be needed against Blue's team, and it's another way to handle rock types. I lead with Terry this time against Pidgeot, and Ancient Power just barely doesn't KO somehow, so we get hit with Wing Attack before taking it out with a second. And unfortunately, no boost this time. Blue then pivots directly into Blastoise, which I kind of wasn't expecting so soon, so I go into Gyarados as he goes for Rain Dance. He did get a crit on his first bite, but Dragon Rage is able to whittle him down as we get brought to just 22 HP before taking him out. Rhyhorn is an easy KO with Surf, and when Growlithe comes in with the Intimidate, I decide to switch into Aerodactyl to play it safe and prepare for Alakazam's entrance, and Earthquake takes him out. Alakazam comes in next, which is great that we have Aerodactyl out since now we can outspeed and oh, wait, he survived the Earthquake and hits us with Psychic, but our next attack takes him out. Whew, I did not think he would survive that. Execute is his last Pokemon and survives a stab super effective Wing Attack, but it just misses Stun Spore and we can take him out. Definitely a messy battle, but we managed it in the end with no deaths. After a daunting journey through Victory Road, we arrive at the Indigo Plateau. After a ton of grinding to level 58, since Lance's level cap is 60, and filling out as many EVs as I can tolerate, I also get some upgrades for our team. I give the leftovers from the Snorlax we stole using Thief to Scyther, and also teach it Return, since for normal type Stab, Farfetch'd already has the Stick along with high critical hit ratio Slash, and Dodrio already has Tri-Attack, which I'm happy with. We also use Thief on Wild Graveler and Onix to eventually find the Hard Stone to boost the power of Aerodactyl's Ancient Power. With that, it's time. Let's see what the Elite Four has to offer. First up is Lorelei, the Ice-type Elite Four member. She is a terrifying threat for a flying team on the face of it, but thankfully Gyarados is neutral to Ice, so I lead with him against Dugong. My calcs tell me that we'll need to be +3 to take it out with Strength, so I have to start Dragon Dancing. She goes for Hail on the first turn, which isn't great since it's guaranteed damage every turn, but thankfully she just goes for Safeguard on the next turn. Ice Beam only does about a fifth on us on the third, and we have to hope for no freeze, and we don't get frozen, get 3 Dragon Dances off, and we can take her out with under half health remaining. Cloyster comes out next, which I know has good defense, however it just has Spikes, Dive, Hail, and Protect, meaning I know it can't do any damage to us on one turn, so I go for another Dragon Dance, and it indeed just goes for Protect, so we get a free boost. Even at +4, Strength doesn't take Cloyster out, but it just goes for Spikes, and after the full restore, 2 more Strengths do the trick after it gets a double Protect off, but thankfully the Hail has stopped. Slowbro also survives a +4 Strength just barely and hits us with Ice Beam, but we survive on 50 HP left. From there we can take it out, 1-hit KO Jinx as well, and Lapras is a scary threat, but we can now use Hyper Beam since there won't be a turn afterwards where we have to recharge. And it does KO. Nice. Shenron was a savior here for sure. Next up is Bruno, whose team is a bit complicated due to the Onixes. Gyarados would be great, however we wouldn't have an opportunity to Dragon Dance due to 3 of his Pokemon having Rock Tomb, which would also lower our speed. I decide to teach the Giga Drain TM to Golbat instead and lead with him. His first Onix is a 1-hit KO since Giga Drain is 4 times effective. Hitmonchan comes in next and I hit him with Wing Attack to the red, but it doesn't KO and he hits us with Rock Tomb for less than half. Our speed was dropped, but I know he'll full restore, so I use Wing Attack again to the red. He does outspeed, but only a Rock Tomb crit would have taken us out, and he just went for Mach Punch instead, so we can take him out. In comes Machamp, and here is where I figured Gyarados could be useful since we can now get the Intimidate off on him. Machamp goes for Scary Face, which lowers our speed, better than Rock Tomb I suppose, and he does what I was fearing. He starts to bulk up. This is another reason why Shenron is useful here though, as Surf is a special move and ignores the defense boosts, but we have to keep in mind his attack is increasing too. His Citrus Berry brings him back above half, but thankfully he keeps going for Cross Chop instead of Rock Tomb for some reason, so we can KO him with 64 HP remaining. Hitmonlee comes out next, and I know I have to switch, so I go into Scyther, who gets hit hard by Mega Kick, but the leftovers help him, and we actually 1-hit KO him with an unboosted Wing Attack. Onix is his final Pokemon, and I know a crit might kill, but I have to risk it by switching into Gyarados for the Intimidate, followed by the Surf to take him out, and the plan does work with 45 HP remaining. A tougher battle than one might expect for a mostly fighting trainer, but Rock Tomb on a lot of his Pokemon combined with the Onixes really threw a wrench into our plan. Next up is Agatha, a trainer who always causes difficulty. We can't Dragon Dance with Gyarados since she'll of course put us to sleep and all that, and Gyarados only has normal type physical moves anyway. I decide to lead with Farfetch'd instead, who isn't affected by Gengar's double team and can't be hit by Shadow Punch. all she can do is Confuse Ray or Toxic us. She immediately hits us with a Confuse Ray, but we make it through to hit it with an Aerial Ace with a critical hit, but it brings it right to the red unfortunately, which is actually a bad thing since she full restores now. But since we're confused, this gives us the opportunity for a free switch to Terry at least, who I'm hoping will outspeed. And he does and hits her to below half with Wing Attack. Then Gengar uses Double Team and we miss our next Wing Attack, after which we get hit by Confuse Ray. Yikes. Knowing she'll likely want to do damage with Shadow Punch, I switch back into Farfetch'd, and she did, so we're immune. Confuse Ray hits us again, but Farfetch'd makes it through for the KO. Golbat comes out and hits us with Air Cutter, but we snap out of confusion and hit it with Slash, but not a crit. Another Air Cutter brings us to about a third, after which we do get a crit Slash and take it out. Arbok comes out next, and the Intimidate combined with our low health means we need to switch, and as much as Terry would be a great switch with Earthquake, Iron Tail is super effective against him, so I go into Shenron instead for the Intimidate. Arbok is a 3-hit KO with Strength as Gyarados is left with about half HP, and in comes her second Gengar. I switch into Golbat here, and Gengar misses its Hypnosis on the switch. Shadow Ball then does about a quarter on us, and I go for the Confuse Ray. Gengar gets the Hypnosis off though, so I switch into Hacker as Gengar hits itself below half, but then its Citrus Berry activates. Because of that, Wing Attack just barely doesn't KO it, and it hits the Hypnosis through Confusion. It then breaks through Confusion as I switch into Dodrio, and she full restores Gengar. From there, since we outspeed it, we hit it with Drill Peck to the red, it misses a Hypnosis, thank god, and we take it out with another, and her final Haunter is a 1-hit KO with Drill Peck as well. Wow, always a messy battle with Agatha, but I think we played around her quite well despite getting hurt. It's time for the final Elite Four member, Lance. Two of our theoretical best options against him would be to charge up Swords Dances, but we can't because his Aerodactyl would outspeed anything that can with super effective Ancient Power and resists both flying and normal moves. We can't lead with our own Aerodactyl either since he leads with Intimidate Gyarados. After long deliberation, I decide our best course of action is actually to lead with our own Gyarados and we both intimidate each other. Here, I know I need to Dragon Dance to get our attack back up, but also to be able to outspeed his Aerodactyl as this is the only way we can. I managed to get 3 Dragon Dances off before we're in Hyper Beam KO range, but I risk one more since I know we need it after Intimidate, and amazingly he just goes for Dragon Rage so we can Unleash with a Strength to take him out. Or not. He survives on literally 1 HP and hits us with Bite. My god, that was scary. One more does the trick after he full restores. Next, he sends in Aerodactyl. I was really hoping he'd send out a Dragonair since one of them does have Thunder Wave, but nope. Now the key here is, according to my calcs, neither Surf nor Strength will 1-hit KO from this range. But there's nothing else we can do. I have to Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam does indeed take him out despite being resisted, but of course on the recharge turn his Dragonite is able to come in and take Shenron down with Outrage. Honestly, it was a necessary sacrifice. That Aerodactyl could have swept our entire team. But we still have to deal with this outraging Dragonite. I send in Aerodactyl so we can outspeed with super effective Ancient Power, and it does over half, then he hits us with Outrage to right about half, and his Citrus Berry activates, but he gets confused. Another Ancient Power brings him to what must be 1 HP, he breaks through Confusion, but just uses Safeguard. Thank god. We can then take him down with one more attack. In comes Dragonair and I go for Ancient Power knowing he can't take us out. It does over half, but then he hits us with Thunder Wave to paralyze. An Outrage then brings us to 47 HP, but we break through Paralysis to take him down. His final Dragonair then comes out and I'm forced to switch since we'll be outsped, so I go into Hacker. Outrage hits us and does about a quarter, and we get a crit on our Wing Attack to take it down. Well, we lost Shenron, but that could have gone much worse. It's champion time. Now Blue's team I studied for a long time. No longer having Gyarados is not good, and I was thinking leading with Farfetch'd could be an option for Keen Eye against his Sand Attack Pidgeot so we can charge up Swords Dances, but then what? Farfetch'd's speed is too low so we can't set up a sweep, and our only other Swords Dancing option is Scyther, who's weak to Pidgeot, Rhydon, and Intimidate Arcanine. In the end, I decide to lead with Aerodactyl. I hit Pidgeot with Ancient Power, but it doesn't KO, and amazingly we do get the stat boost, but then Pidgeot goes for Sand Attack, and Blue full restores it. Ancient Power then misses, but we get to attack again, and now, thanks to the stat boost, we take it out. But then, of course, Blue sends out Blastoise. This thing now has Hydro Pump and a Citrus Berry, and since our accuracy is lowered too, there's no way we can stay in. I switch into Golbat, and amazingly Blastoise misses its first Hydro Pump, so I hit it with Confuse Ray, but then it gets Rain Dance off. We hit it with a couple Giga Drains, then it uses Rain Boosted Hydro Pump through Confusion, and it nearly takes us out with just 18 HP left. Holy. Our Oranberry is not very helpful here. I know there's nothing we can switch in, so I go for Giga Drain hoping he might miss, but incredibly he goes for a Bite, so we get another attack off after his Citrus Berry, but then another Bite finishes Golbat off. He will never be a Crobat now. Now here I know we need a lot of speed for the late battle, so I send in our slower Farfetch'd after doing calcs, knowing that even if he hits a Hydro Pump we will survive. And he does indeed, as we live with just 25 HP, after which Slash takes him out. In comes Rhydon, and there's of course nothing I can switch in, so I go for Sand Attack, and he hits a Rock Tomb nonetheless to take Chiding out. Rest well, sweet prince. With the lower accuracy, I'm willing to risk sending in Aerodactyl now for the Earthquake since we really have no other option, and Earthquake does over half, he misses his 80% Rock Tomb, and we can take him out with another. He sends in Alakazam next, and we outspeed it and hit it with Ancient Power, but it survives and we don't get the boost, after which he hits us to below half with Psychic, then we can KO him with 3 more after 2 full restores, but none of them get the boost. A single boost would have won us the battle. Damn. In comes Exeggutor, and knowing this thing is bulky and Giga Drain is neutral on us, we have to switch into Scyther, who quad resists it. Exeggutor went for Sleep Powder on the switch, but it missed. We hit it with Wing Attack, then it lands a Sleep Powder, but thankfully he can't do too much damage on us with Egg Bomb, and we take it out after waking up. His final Pokemon is Arcanine, who immediately comes in with the Intimidate. There's really nothing I can do here, so I just go for a Wing Attack. It does not much at all, then Hacker gets taken down by a Flamethrower. Here, I send in Triple D to get good damage off with Drill Peck, he hits us with Flamethrower, and then he uses Extreme Speed to outspeed us and take Dodrio down. Our team has gotten absolutely ravaged, but it's time. Aerodactyl resists Extreme Speed anyway, so he was the perfect Pokemon to keep alive. Ancient Power outspeeds and takes him down. Wow, that was a wild battle. A bit messy, but we guaranteed the win by keeping our faster Pokemon alive, and specifically Terry. Amazing. We beat a FireRed Hardcore Nuzlocke with nothing but Flying-type Pokemon. Let's go. If you enjoyed the run, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button as it really helps a lot and grows our community. A huge thanks to my YouTube members and patrons who make these videos possible. If you'd like to support and get your name up here, the links are also down below. If you enjoyed, drop a like down below to help the video out and leave a comment letting me know what kind of run we should do next, and I'll see you guys for our next challenge video.